extremist Islamic organisation, Hizb ut-Tahrir, and he joins me now in the studio. And from Southampton, joined by Judge Drabu from the Mosques and Imams National Advisory Board. Ed, let me start with a quote from you, which is that Britain's mosques are run by men who are physically in Britain but psychologically in Pakistan. What do you mean by that?
I mean there's a serious disconnection between the vast majority of our imams, and our findings are troubling in that we found that 92% of those imams in most of our mosques are educated abroad. So their moral compass, their understanding of a liberal democracy as it is here in Britain today, is not as advanced as it ought to be when it comes to dealing with young Muslims, with real complex issues. So young Muslims in Britain want guidance, want a steer when it comes to Israel's onslaught against Gaza last month. But when they turn to these imams, we often find that there's no coherence, no intellectual sophistication, no linguistic ability to steer young Muslims through the difficult terrain and the difficult life that is modern Britain. So their connections, not just psychologically but also ideationally, theologically, tends to come from madrasas in Pakistan or in Bangladesh. And I'm sorry, I think as Muslims here in Britain, we ought to demand more, and it's only right that we push the debate and kickstart a much needed national discussion as to where these mosque imams are taking us over the next coming 15 to 20 years.
Judge Drabu, should we be recruiting more imams locally in Britain, training up more imams here in Britain?
Of course we should. Of course we should. There's no disagreement on that. But where there is disagreement is the inferences that Quilliam Foundation has drawn from the findings that they have made, or the evidence that they have found. Does it mean that somebody who is born abroad is necessarily going to facilitate terrorism or extremism? I fear not. I fear not. The connection is not there. Of course it is important. Of course it is important for our mosques to be run with good governance procedures. Of course it's essential for the imams to be qualified in this country. Where I take issue with this report is that it has drawn unjustified and far-fetched inferences. I'm looking at the figures produced in this report. It is suggested that 97% of imams in mosques are from overseas.
So do you dispute that figure?
I don't dispute the figure, because I have got no evidence to suggest, to prove that the